Okay, good afternoon, everybody. This is Laura Belanger from the National Weather Service. Can I get some confirmation that you guys can hear me through the computer? Okay, great. Okay, bear with me just 1 minute and we will get started. Thank you. Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Again, I'm Laura Belanger. I'm here at the National Weather Service, and we are going to go ahead and get started. We do have some interesting weather in store for us over the next week or so. So, although we will cover the next 7 days, our focus here is going to be mainly on this potential tropical system that we've got headed our direction. Okay, so as far as the big headlines go, wet conditions will persist over the next week. We're starting off already saturated. We're already primed for potential flooding as this next system impacts the area. Now, showers and thunderstorms are expected each day into this weekend. And then as this tropical system does approach our area, we will expect those heavy rain events to continue. Now, right now, the 7-day rainfall totals are in excess of 4 inches over the area. Some areas could see closer to 7 inches, and that's just an estimate right now. So that's something that we're going to continue to watch. Now, this tropical system, even though, hurricane season doesn't technically start until June 1st, this could be our first named storm of the season. And, at this point, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And so we should go ahead and start to expect some flooding to impact the area. Now, we also have a pattern change, hopefully, in store for us. Maybe get some drier conditions in here late next week. It probably wouldn't happen until late on Thursday or Friday. So something we can look out for, maybe the light at the end of the tunnel here. Now, as far as recent rainfall is concerned, this is the 7-day total radar estimate over the area. You can see the bright red and purple colors over west central Georgia indicating that maybe 10 to potentially 15 inches have fallen over the last week in some of those areas, very isolated pockets. Now, the thing here to look at is that the rest of the area has still seen 2 to 4, maybe some pockets of 5 to 6 inches of rainfall over the last week. And that may not look like a big deal, especially when you're looking at the Columbus area. But if you look at the percent of normal that we should be seeing in a week's time over this area, even those smaller rainfall amounts are still 300%, 400%, 600% of normal. So our recent rainfall has really saturated the soils. And again, that is going to prime us for some quick flooding to occur with additional heavy rainfall amounts. Now, this graphic is courtesy of the USGS, and this is all our river gauges in the area. And you can see any of those that have a color to them, not the hollow ones, but the colored ones, are showing the current stream flow conditions. And the reason why I put this up here is that you can see the number of them that are green, that aqua blue color, and the bright blue, indicating a normal, above normal, or much above normal value. And there's even some black ones in there which indicate a high value. This is a big deal because not only are our rivers going to be a little more quick to respond with additional rainfall, but they also have a suppressed ability to hold any kind of significant runoff within the channel. So what that means is that these rivers will accumulate that runoff and then quickly rise outside of its banks. So something that we will have to continue to monitor over this next week. Now, as far as the current weather goes, we're talking today into tomorrow. We're in a very moist, unsettled environment. Now, with the help of some daytime heating, we're kicking off some of these showers and thunderstorms. We're already seeing that coverage increase this afternoon. And so there is still a risk, even outside of this potential tropical system impacting the area. We have an additional risk of just our everyday thunderstorms over the next 2 or 3 days, providing enough of that additional rainfall already. So this is an animated graphic showing the potential radar for this afternoon and evening based on the HER model. And you can see that although it does sort of emphasize rainfall over central and south Georgia, there is some potential of getting some higher rainfall amounts up over north Georgia as well. We can't rule out some strong storms with this. We're not expecting, widespread severe, but the main hazards would be gusty winds, lightning, and heavy rainfall. Now, you will probably see some trees fall just from these relatively benign thunderstorms with just some basic gusty winds. Because soils are saturated, it's taking less and less wind to knock these trees down. So just be aware of that. Now, as far as excessive rainfall is concerned, the Weather Prediction Center does have north and central Georgia outlooked in a slight risk. That's that kind of brownish color there for excessive rainfall for day 1, that's today, through 8 a.m. tomorrow. And then the rest of the area is in that marginal risk. Now, luckily, it seems like tomorrow into Saturday, our risk of excessive rainfall is not quite as high. Okay, now as far as our precip totals for today go, it does look like portions of maybe east, central, into south Georgia could see upwards of 1.5 inches or so. If you get a decent thunderstorm that moves through your area or hangs around for a while, you could even see higher rainfall amounts than this. In the Columbus area yesterday and the day prior, with these showers and thunderstorms that persisted over the same area, they saw 8 inches of rain yesterday. And so these storms are very efficient rain producers, and that rainfall can add up very quickly. Now let's move on to the kind of main player in the extended forecast, and that's this tropical system. The National Hurricane Center is watching low pressure that's moving into the Gulf of Mexico. Right now, for the 5-day development time period, they're calling for an 80% chance of this developing into a tropical storm. Now, the latest model solutions are bringing that low pressure system to the northern Gulf Coast by Sunday afternoon, but we could see some heavy rainfall as early as just after midnight on Sunday morning. This could potentially be that first named storm of 2018, which would be Tropical Storm Alberto if this is named. Now, as far as the tracks for this, and I don't want us to focus on the tracks, but these are two sort of spaghetti plot diagrams, and the only thing I want to mention here is that the model solutions right now are pretty consistent with bringing this area of low pressure into the northern Gulf Coast states and keeping Georgia on the east side of the storm. And what does that mean for us? That means that we are going to be in the area that sees the highest rainfall amounts traditionally as that storm moves inland. Okay, so we can see the 3-day rainfall QPF, the forecast of rainfall for the Weather Prediction Center. This is what they've issued. You can see that, you know, there's really high rainfall amounts just off the coast of Florida. That's going to be moving inland. So we start to see maybe some of that influence early in the day on Sunday. And then if we take a little zoomed in approach to it for day 4 and 5, so this is going to be Sunday morning through Tuesday morning, you can see that the higher rainfall amounts start spreading into the state. But it does look like right now that the rainfall amounts on a big picture perspective over the state are going to be mainly 1 to 2 inches or so. But again, if you have an area that has training where the storms are moving over the same locations repeatedly, or if slow-moving system, that means that we're going to start seeing these rainfall amounts add up a little more quickly. Now, days 6 and 7 are also looking like they're going to be close to an inch, maybe a little bit higher. But we are going to see some isolated areas that see quite a bit more rainfall than this potentially. So something that we're watching. Now, if you look at the 7-day rainfall total, so this includes today's rainfall through the weekend and then with that tropical system, you can see that there's a widespread area of 3 to 5 inches, but that bright orange color that you see over there in East Central Georgia, that goes from 5 to 7 inches. And so it's possible that we're not quite capturing how significant these rainfall amounts are going to be. Given what we've been seeing over the last couple of days, it has been possible for an area to see these kind of rainfall amounts in a 24-hour period, not a 7-day total. So keep in mind that, again, these rainfall amounts are going to be adding up quickly. We are in a very moist environment. We are seeing some very efficient rainfall processes, and this is a tropical in nature system. So you could consider some of these areas, especially over central and eastern Georgia, that these potentially could be some lower rainfall amounts. Okay, so we do have a flash flood watch that we went ahead and issued, and that's from today through 8 a.m. on Saturday. So right now we are calling for potentially 2 to 4 inches over the next 48 hours. That does differ a little bit from what we saw in those previous images. But right now we have included a majority of North and Central Georgia in that flash flood watch. And you can expect, as this tropical system moves inland, that the flash flood watches would continue as well. Now, just a reminder for the river forecast, if you have used any of these tools before from the River Forecast Center, you can access them from water.weather.gov. And these forecasts, which you see here, all the little dots where they do a forecast, and there's a square border around the points that they provide the forecast for. And it gives you a color indicator of what kind of flood category they're going to see. So, for example, we have Carsonville that's in flood in central Georgia. It's the orange inner square. And then that outer square is forecast of minor floods. So that's expected to continue. Now, these forecasts from the RFC only use 48 hours of rainfall forecast. So beyond 48 hours, you can get a chance of exceedance forecast through Ensemble products, and that's available using these steps below, where you do go to weather.gov/SERFC, then go to the River Observations and Forecast tab, and then go to Ensemble Forecast. But again, their forecast they're using, or if you're using a hydrograph that has the forecast plot on it, that only includes 48 hours of rainfall. And so beyond that, you could expect additional rises given this kind of situation that we're moving into. Now, on the plus side, our temperatures are not going to be a concern. We are looking at some very mild temperatures for late May into the beginning of June. So that is a welcome change, but I know it comes at a price with that rainfall and increased cloud cover over the state. Just a little side note, since we have been talking about tropical weather, The National Hurricane Center did issue their 2018 hurricane outlook. Right now they are going with 10 to 16 named storms, 5 to 9 hurricanes, and then 1 to 4 major hurricanes. And again, this is in total for the season. This is not, only those expecting to make landfall. This would be for the season entirely. You can go to the NHC website for additional information. Okay, so just in summary, we are expecting the wet conditions to persist. Again, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when you're going to see that rainfall. Showers and thunderstorms are expected each day, and our rainfall totals over the next 7 days could get pretty high. The tropical system potentially to impact area could be Tropical Storm Alberto. You can expect the flooding. And it's very important you stay alert to changing forecasts. And right now, thankfully, it does look like we have a pattern change late next week. I'll put that in italics, drier conditions Friday into the weekend. We may not be looking at dry conditions, but certainly drier seems appropriate.
That is what I have.
With that, we've got time for questions if anybody has some. So I can unmute your phones. Okay. Do you have any questions? The slides will be up later on the briefings page.
I am.
Accessible for you there. And we'll get those up in the next few minutes.
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Go ahead.
Hey, I didn't, yeah, I saw my phone.
Okay, did we have any questions? I have a question on the chat about additional briefings. Right now, we are not expected to do any briefings here in the immediate future, but should any be needed over the weekend, we will submit, we'll send out an email to you guys indicating a timeline. Especially if this storm does get named, we will be looking a little bit more closely about having a more frequent briefing schedule on that. Somebody's asking about the current rainfall. If we back up here, these are the 7-day rainfall totals as of 10 o'clock this morning. So you can see that based by county. And so this is the percent of normal rainfall amount for the last 7 days. Okay, any other questions? Okay, thank you guys for joining me today. Again, if we have more briefings this weekend, we hope you'll attend. Remember that any special briefings that are done in the GoToMeeting software, not in the Join Me software. Okay, you guys have a good weekend.